Voices that inspire, conversations that matter. Podcasts, Innovation and Change NYC. Follow us and become part of our global community of dialogue, ideas, and change.
Hello, I'm Ekaterina, and thank you, Barbara, for being with us. Today's episode focuses on a powerful and deeply human theme, humor. Humor is human. It accompanies us throughout life. Yet in the complexity of our daily routines, we often forget its value. Today, we intentionally pause to remember, because humor is not only a source of joy, but a vital element that strengthens both our personal and professional lives, profoundly and playfully. Reflecting on your journey, was there a specific moment or turning point when you recognized that humor was not only meaningful to you personally, but something you wanted to use to support others?
I started interviewing people about stories from their lives that were hard then that are funny now. And I realized that any time that we can laugh with a story from our journey, it's like we get re-healed all over again, because there's something about laughing with what has happened. Not that the original thing becomes funny, because it usually doesn't, but something along the journey has found humor. When that happens, when we feel better telling the story, when we laugh or smile, when we bring energy to ourselves or others by telling this tale, it's very empowering for our own self, but it also is a celebration of our resilience with other people. And I don't think that we walk around understanding how powerful it is to tell stories from our own lives that were hard then that are funny now to other people. When we do that, everyone can catch some hope. I have a story about a friend of mine named Jared who almost drowned when he was 9 or 10 years old. And then for the next 40 years, he pretended to know how to swim. If not that he would be in the water, but if his friends were going out boating or something, he'd say, "Oh, I just want to drive the boat," or "I want to make the picnic today," or whatever he could do to be near water but not be in it. And then when he finally was going to turn 50, he learned how to swim so that he could do a triathlon to finally beat this thing, but also celebrate who he wanted to be. And he taught his son how to swim at the same time. And he finds it funny today that he spent 40 years not swimming. However, if we take that out, what else has anybody spent 5 or 10 or 20 years or 40 years not doing that we could have done if we'd been able to find some laughter in the journey earlier and been able to restore our personal power about the situation, our feeling of freedom, our feeling of possibility and permission. Finding laughter with the journey brings all of those things. And when I really understood that, it felt it vitally necessary to be a messenger for that, because humor is the underappreciated force of wellness in the world and across the world, because in all languages and in all cultures, we laugh. Human beings laugh before we talk. And so we all laugh in the same language, which predates whatever language we're also speaking.
From a practical standpoint and from your valuable experience that you can share for us and for the listeners, can you tell us, please, what is one simple way individuals can begin to integrate humor into their everyday lives?
Oh, yeah, that would be telling stories to each other that are hard then that are funny now. I encourage everyone on this podcast, everyone listening to this podcast, and everyone who will ever listen to this podcast, to today have a conversation with someone about stories from both of your lives that were hard then that are funny now. And hard can be anything from mildly irritating all the way to devastating. And funny can be anything from the tiniest little smile in the heart all the way to super funny. And so there's a very broad range. And if we get with each other, and it's a great dinner table topic. It's great when people are coming together who haven't seen each other in a long time. It's amazing at family reunions when people are telling stories that were hard then that are funny now across generations. So ask people of different ages, different backgrounds, different experiences. Have a shared conversation about what was hard then that's funny now, and you will find that you feel closer together with that person and feel inspired by that person's journey, and that person will feel inspired by your journey. And I can just about almost guarantee it.
And my next question is, looking ahead, it's very interesting for me. How do you see the role of humor evolving in an increasingly technological world?
no matter how much technology we have, the human heart is never going to work any differently, ever. Not in all of human history.
Right.
Not in all of human history. I mean, if you look at all the inventions that have had already, the human heart's not working any differently because we have a telephone. The human heart is not working any differently because we have agriculture. It's not working any differently because we have a computer. It's not working any differently because we have electricity. The human heart will work the same always throughout all time. And the human heart needs to be seen and heard and celebrated. And so being seen and heard, I've come to understand that being seen and heard is not enough, because it's possible to be seen and heard and rejected. And I do believe that sometimes people, especially young people, can turn to violence or aggression as a solution because they feel seen, heard, and rejected. And I actually have a belief that sometimes that's why young people turn to gun violence, which is very sad and a very intense situation. But I do believe that people sometimes feel seen, heard, and rejected, and then there's nowhere else to go because people feel so isolated that what are you going to do? You have to release the tension somehow, and it can come out in aggression. Being seen, which is what happens when too much laughing at is around. When we're laughing with each other, it's creating being seen, heard, and celebrated. And that's where connection happens. That's where people feel permission to be more of who they are. Humor is a phenomenal liberator. And it's vitally important to walk with it and walk with it with each other. And AI makes jokes. I have talked to AI, and AI has made jokes with me. And I've been like, wow, AI, that's really funny. But you know what? AI is based on all of human history that's been recorded. So it's only reflecting humans back to humans.
Exactly.
Humans are funny. And I predict that AI will just get funnier and funnier if it's meant to help people, and if it's meant to bring out the humanity or reflect humanity back to ourselves. So we don't have to worry that humor is going away. However, there's fear about what's happening in the world because of technology, and humor can help with that. We can find a way to have humor with our fears, laugh about the singularity. Whatever fears are coming to the fore, we can transmute them by naming them and having a laugh about it, understanding that the human heart is never going to work any differently. We're safe emotionally. We're humans. And what I mean by that is that we can rely on the human heart to always reach for love, to always want connection, to always use humor for a reset, to always cry when it's sad, to always be angry when it's mad. The human heart's going to do what it's going to do, and humor for the journey is always going to apply. Now, I can imagine people trying to use AI for the first time. There's probably a lot of funny stories about that, just like when people were trying to figure out how to use a smartphone and not a flip phone, just like people were trying to figure out how to talk on the telephone for the first time. I mean, there's funny stories about adopting technology. Living with technology, there's funny stories about that too. I mean, the moment of the year 2000, when people all around the world thought that the world might end because computers couldn't handle going from 1999 to 2000, that's funny. It didn't happen. But it's an example of being able to laugh with a moment where the world was afraid of technology that can be applied today.
Thank you, Barbara, again. And I have to share my insights that I have a big smile on my face and I have only positive thoughts. And today's discussion has reminded us that meaningful innovation is always grounded in our shared humanity.
Thank you for joining Innovation and Change NYC. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please follow us for more.
Voices rise.